All right, me, I've always loved grilled cheese sandwiches. Grilled ham and cheese sandwiches, even better. And this is the Deluxe grilled ham, cheese, and caramelized onion sandwich. I call it Deluxe because there's a lot of butter that goes into this. Absolutely delicious, beautifully golden on the outside, juicy, gooey on the inside. Oh yeah. You just get textures and flavors hitting you. It's fantastic. Let's go in the kitchen and make this right now. Right, to make our Deluxe grilled ham, cheese, and caramelized onion sandwiches, first thing we want to do is make the caramelized onions. Now you have a couple options here. One is, if you're in a real hurry, you haven't got time to make caramelized onions, hey, even a not Deluxe grilled ham and cheese sandwich is damn delicious. And you can just make it without the onions. But this adds a layer you will not believe. So what you can do is make this the day before, that morning, whenever. This does not have to be made right at the time you're making the sandwiches. Make this ahead of time, keep it in the refrigerator, cover it, and then when you're ready to make the sandwiches, you've got your caramelized onions. So let's get those going here. First thing I've got here is, of course, the onions. That's 2 onions, which have been quartered and thinly sliced. You can see the Kitchen Tech video for that at the link showing down below there. The other thing I've got here is butter, and I've got a 1/4 cup of butter. I've got 1/2 teaspoon of pepper and 1/2 teaspoon of salt. So let's get that butter melting over some medium heat. I'm using a large fry pan. The large frying pan is always the best because it just gives you more surface. It means that you can cook the onions faster. So let's get those that butter in there. Notice I've cut the butter into 1 tablespoon pieces, so it just melts faster when it gets in the pan here. All right, with a little help from pushing around, the butter is melted. Let's get the onions in there. So in go the onions, and then I'm going to sprinkle the salt and the pepper on top. Just toss this around to distribute that a bit. Doesn't get all perfectly distributed right now. It will as we're cooking, because it's going to be cooking for a while. All right, what I'm going to do for the next 5 minutes over medium heat is I'm going to cook this, stirring occasionally. I'm just softening up the onions at this point. I'll be back here in 5 minutes, and then we're going to carry on with the caramelization process. See you in 5. All right, that's been about 5 minutes. I've just stirred a few times. You can see how already the salt and pepper is all distributed throughout there, so that's why we didn't have to be too perfect when we first added it. Onions are nicely soft. What I want to do now is I want to cook them to that caramel stage. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lower the heat down a little bit to more of a medium-low. And slowly cook these for the next 15 minutes, 15 to 20 minutes. Really what we're looking for is just getting it, everything's nice caramel color and delicious. So I'm going to stir it a little bit more frequently. At the beginning here it'll still be okay, but as I get further along in time, I'm going to keep increasing the frequency of the stirring. So we don't want to burn these onions. We just want it nicely caramelized. All right, so I'll see you in about 15 to 20 minutes. All right, those have been cooking for about 20 minutes, and look at that, it's beautifully caramelized. Now you can go even deeper if you want it really deeply caramelized. You just keep turning the temperature down and cook them even longer. I like this, just like this, nice golden color is just perfect for me, but some people like a really dark brown, you know, when you're really browning up all over the place. Then just go longer, but make sure you keep turning the temperature down, get right down to low, because you don't want to burn the onions. You just want to get that nice caramelly flavor. All right, what I'm going to do with these is turn off the heat, and I'm just going to dump these for now into a bowl. And then, because this pan cooks so cleanly, I can just reuse it as is, which is great. I can just make my grilled cheese sandwiches right in there. All right, so look at that. Delicious. All right, so put that off to one side over here for right now. Oops, drop some on the counter. Get that in there. All right, now I'm just gonna make 2 sandwiches at a time because it's about all we can fit in the pan. We can't fit all 4 of them in there, but it only takes a few minutes to cook, so that's no big problem. So lay out some bread. What I've got here is I have 3/4 pound or 370 grams of Edam cheese. Now you could use a cheddar or something that's fine too. I'm just using Edam, something that melts well, and I've cut it to about somewhere between 1/8 of an inch and 1/4 inch thick, so between 3 and 5 millimeters thick. And then over here we've got a 1/2 pound or 230 grams of sliced ham. This is a nice thinly sliced one, so I'm just going to spread those all over the place. We have 8 slices of, this is a rye bread. It's a very light rye bread. It's kind of like probably a mixture of 50% rye, 50% white. Got it from my local bakery. Any kind of bread like this. You know, sometimes I use the, what they call a campagne. It's like a French bread, but also made with rye. Something like that. Something that's a little hearty and yet not too hard. Over here we have 6 tablespoons of butter at room temperature. Let that out. I want that soft. It's going to be, you know, so it's spreadable. And here I have 1/2 cup of mayonnaise and 1/4 cup of whole grain mustard. So what I'm going to do now is basically, first of all, use about half of this mayonnaise and just spread it. This is going to add, this just adds a lot of that moisture and deliciousness to your sandwiches. So let's just, that's it, go wild. All right. Looks like about half. We're going to save the other half for the rest of our bread. All right, and then what I'm just going to do is spread it out. Now, again, the mustard. About half of this mustard is going to get shared up amongst these pieces. So just spread that on top of the mayonnaise. All right, now, next thing is, I'm going to take the cheese, and half the cheese, of course, is going to go here, but about 1/4 of the cheese in this first layer. So what I like to do is put down 2 of these. I just always use my little spreader here to slice these in half. Just make it fit nicely. All right, there. Now over here, so basically cheese going down on everything. And cut that one in half. And then we're going to divvy up about half of the ham. And also I got the ham hanging out over the sides a little bit and all. That just adds to the rustic charm of these delicious sandwiches. So let's get that one hanging out a bit further. There we go. All right, now comes the onions. So take about half of that onion and divide it up between these 2 sandwiches. Just put it on one side. It's going to be a little hard to put their sandwich together if you put it on both sides. So put it on one side here. All right. And now, spread that out a little bit. So I kind of keep it as a pocket in the middle so we don't lose any of it. And then, flip. There we go. That's one sandwich. Flip the other sandwich. Now, for the browning, we want butter. Now, it's going to be butter on both sides, and we have 4 sandwiches all together. So we want to use about 1/8 of the butter. No, sorry, my math. I used to be an engineer. 1/4 of the butter on these 2 sides here. All right, now I'm going to turn this on, medium heat. Take these, flip them over, butter side down. Same with this guy, butter side down. Now what I like to do is press everything down. Now we're going to cook this over medium heat about 4 to 5 minutes. what we want is we just want to brown it nicely, and it's going to start melting the cheese, right? So this is just going to be a beginning melt because we still have the second side. So 4 to 5 minutes, and every once in a while, give it a little press down. Just kind of puts everything together. All right, see you in 4 to 5 minutes. All right, that's been a little bit under 4 minutes now, but first thing I want to do is before we go to flip them, we're gonna butter the bread. So about another quarter of this butter being used up on here. Look at that. You don't want to butter this too early, because if you butter it before it all starts cooking, then this is all going to be melted by the time we're ready to flip and soaked in too much. We want to have a bit more on the surface for that browning effect. All right, we're ready to flip these. Oh, and look at that. Isn't that just beautiful? Golden brown, delicious. Oh yes. All right, now for the second half, I like to do is I like to throw the lid on, a little extra heat in there, make sure all that cheese deep inside gets melted. So we'll come back in about 4 or 5 minutes, and our first batch will be ready to come out of the pan. All right, that's been about another 4.5 minutes. Looking good. I see cheese melting down the side there. Looking great. So let's kill that for right now. Bring these out onto here. Now, Bon Appetit, one of my favorite magazines, and whom I to argue with Bon Appetit, said that if you cut them diagonally, they taste the best. I don't know. I think they taste good anyway, but who am I to argue with Bon Appetit? So let's just crunch through one of these. Oh, look at that. Come on. Yes. That looks absolutely delicious. All kinds of melted cheese in there. You got the onions, the ham. A little hot. I'm not going to take a bite of that right now. All right. Enjoy Deluxe grilled ham, cheese, and caramelized onion sandwiches. Now, if you go to the link appearing on the screen, you can get the free printable recipe for Deluxe grilled ham, cheese, and caramelized onion sandwiches on our website. Also, make sure to go and check out the Kitchen Tech video on how to quarter and thinly slice onions and other Kitchen Tech videos. See the link down below. Now, go print out the recipe, have fun making and eating this drippy, delicious sandwich, and make cooking fun again with Kuma's Kitchen.